on, you got to seize the goddamn gap. People are so goddamn inefficient. Oh, god damn it! I don't care if you're old, seize the gap!
Welcome to Seize the Gap Fantasy Football. I am Jamie G. Esquire, the fifth defender of Buffalo and driver of the Range Rover. I'm here at Magnum to put a bow on the 2023 NFL season, and to paraphrase the late, great DMX, same damn results, dog, just a different season. Here we go again.
I'm Magnum Mills, and yep, but here we go again. Unless you're a Chiefs fan or maybe a Texans fan, I guess this was not a great season for you. But a man's got to do what a man's got to do, and we're going to play how we're going to play on Seize the Gap Fantasy Football. This is our season wrap-up. We're talking a lot about fantasy playoff contests, Super Bowl props wrap-up, a few other things. Thank you for checking us out. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. We're on social media at Seize the Gap FF. Find us at seizethegapff.com. Please don't forget that stuff, and please don't forget the flaps. Follow, like, and please subscribe. No, they're not just for planes. They're not just for birds. They help us out too. So if you had fun, please remember, click the thumb.
Before we talk about the results of our Super Bowl prop bet spectacular, let's talk about the game itself for a minute. I mean, it was a game. It was the Super Bowl. I don't know that there are any major fantasy football takeaways, but I do know that we're both so freaking sick of seeing the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, let alone winning it. I'm sick of listening to Kermit the Frog talk. I'm sick of watching it. I'm sick of the color red. Mills, I'm going nuts here. Am I right?
Yeah, I guess it was an okay game. You know, low scoring at first, especially. You got the overtime. That was cool. If you take the teams that were playing, was it an enjoyable game experience to watch it at least? Did you even like any of the commercials stick out? I mean, did Usher work for you? Were you sad there was no Justin Bieber?
So a couple things. One, I thought the game was okay. It was a little slow. Obviously, it got there in the second half, and the under hit. I hope everyone got the under 47.5 before they lowered it to 47, because the under hit, if you got stuck with a push,
Went to 46.5 in a lot of shops too at a certain point.
And it might have. So you might have gotten screwed on that. I luckily got in at 47.5, but I thought the game itself was okay. It was it's two good teams. I don't know, man. I think the Super Bowl the world deserved was the Lions and the Bills, but that's just me. I think that would have made for a much better Super Bowl. I just think that the Chiefs just aren't an exciting or fun team to watch. And so it's just kind of one of those things where it's like, eh. And then you got Brock Purdy playing quarterback. So it just didn't, to me, it wasn't that great. I was a little bit down on the halftime show at first, but looking back, I think it was up there with as good as
when I
we've
realized
had.
they were definitely bringing out Lil Jon, I got a little excited.
Yeah.
When Ludacris came out, I'm like, oh, we're definitely getting Lil Jon now at least.
Yeah, I'm not an Usher guy. Don't hate me, world. It's just I'm
no.
not a
I
big
mean,
Usher
he's
guy.
for the chicks, really. I mean, let's be honest here. But I thought he put on a pretty good show.
I thought he did too. I just think overall the Super Bowl halftime shows have seriously taken a hit, and I think they need to go a different direction. They tried to do kind of the same thing the last couple of years, same genre of music. My recommendation is switch it up a little bit. Get somebody else in there.
But they need to do like an American Idol style thing all year, where they come up with the whole thing is to win, to be the right, and then like you play the Super Bowl or whatever.
Look at the number one selling artists, right? And look at people that are selling out the Sphere, right? Doing residencies there. Shit, dude. Get the Dead to do a halftime show. Get U2. Get a big name band.
I think U2's done it already, to be perfectly honest with you.
They might have, but I just would like them to go in a little bit of a different direction. As far as commercials go, Mills, two jumped out to me. The Dunkin' Donuts joint I thought was pretty good. I enjoyed the Dunkin' Donuts joint. That was probably my favorite. What about you?
I honestly did not pay a ton of attention to the commercials. I had to be cooking food and walking dogs and running around doing stuff and updating prop bets and those kind of things. I will say the one thing that killed me is the outcome of the game never felt like it was in doubt. Even it just felt inevitable, especially on the early first drive. Christian McCaffrey fumbles. Then you have the punt that bounces off the 49ers. The Chiefs recover. They score the touchdown. It just felt like, again, like DMX, like, here we go again. It really just felt that no matter what, you feel for Kyle Shanahan a little bit. People are, kind of going at him about his decision to get the ball first in overtime. I don't think it mattered. And I think that's the problem. There was no way that they could prevent Patrick Mahomes from having the ball, and that basically screwed them.
Yeah, and then you look back and talk about here we go again. This is 3 times in a row the Chiefs have been in the Super Bowl. 3 times, not in a row, but 3 times Chiefs been in the Super Bowl, and all 3 times that offensive line doesn't have one single holding call. You look back at some of the film on this. I watched the coaches' film on this. Dude, it is atrocious. Just that last drive. I mean, Bosa's getting bear hugged. I mean, some of the missed calls on the holds, and I know you could go back and you could cherry pick it. Chiefs fan are gonna be like, "Oh, you're so bitter, Jamie G, because you're a Bills owner." Yeah, I get it, but you could cherry pick and you could point it out. That offensive line, especially their right tackle, ain't good enough to not have one single solitary call in an entire game against an elite pass rush. I'm just sorry. It just ain't that good. All right. They're a good offensive line. They ain't that good. They missed a ton of holding calls. I mean, like 15 of them throughout the course of the game. It was absolutely atrocious. So that's another thing that I think just, again, it was inevitable, but I'm not a conspiracy guy, but I'm just telling you, the 49ers didn't get a single one of those calls. Not one all game. And there was a lot of them.
Yeah, you can't be shocked again. The Eagles, we didn't lose the Super Bowl on a Bradbury penalty. It was legit, but it was one you didn't know if they would call, given how they called the rest of the game. And that's at least what you want for the rest. Just be consistent. Even if
Yeah.
it's not consistent game to game, at least within the game, call it consistent. Call the same penalties in the first quarter as the fourth quarter on team A is on team B. I think that's all we're looking for is just, even if it's consistently bad, if there's too many penalties or not enough penalties, just call it the same way. And I think that's what you run into when they try to swallow the whistles. Then it's like, all right, how far over the line does your own guys just keep pushing it? Remember back in the day when the Seahawks corners and the Patriots corners would just chuck guys over and over and over because they knew that the refs couldn't keep calling it. Eventually they'd back off and they just move the Overton window on what defensive pass interference was. And that's a reason, then that became a point of emphasis and all that kind of thing. So we'll see. The tackles were still getting off early too. That was the all year thing for the Chiefs. Sometimes egregiously so. Like you're to the naked eye, you can see it. Not just, a frame or two if you're slowing the film down. Like you can just tell.
Yeah, it was bad. And I think that's a runner with, unfortunately, the way the NFL is right now. I mean, that's, again, I'll just say this, Mills. When you have unlimited money, you should make sure that the officiating of a game is as perfect as you can possibly get it. I just can't accept anything less when you have unlimited money in this incredible tax sheltered business called the National Football League. Mills, let's get into the results from our Super Bowl prop bet spectacular. Go ahead and take it away, my brother.
Okie dokie, doggy daddy. We're just going to go down the results here real quick. The national anthem was over 90.5 seconds. The coin toss was heads. The Chiefs won the coin toss. The first play had over 3.5 net yards gained. The first play of the game was a rush. There were less than 6.5 plays on the opening drive. A sack occurred before a touchdown. San Francisco was the first team to score, and the first score was a field goal. So the first score came from over 24.5 yards. The first touchdown was scored by San Francisco. The jersey number of the first touchdown scorer was over 22.5, while the jersey number of the final touchdown scorer was under 22.5. Neither team used a coach's challenge. The last play of the game was not a quarterback kneel. Kansas City was the last team to score. The San Francisco 49ers won time of possession. There were more made field goals than passing touchdowns. The distance of the final made field goal was under 40.5 yards. The largest lead of the game was under 13.5 points. Yes, the team that scored last won the game. No, there was not a 2-point conversion attempt. The first turnover was committed by San Francisco, and the total turnovers were over 2.5. The MVP was Patrick Mahomes, and the color of the Gatorade dumped on Andy Reid was purple.
Again with the purple? Again?
I edged you out here, baby. 12-11. I edged you out on this one. We were both right on the coin toss, the first play of the game. Jersey number, the first TD score, distance of the final field goal, first turnover, total turnovers, and MVP. Jamie G, any real surprises here? That is, it was a close one. We each got about half the props right. Any thoughts?
It actually, in a weird way, I was kind of wrong with my storyline here, where I thought the Chiefs would get up early and the Niners would kind of rally back but fall short. It was actually the Chiefs who got off to a slow start. The Niners should have been up 17-0 in this game, but they got off to the start. They controlled the time of possession. So it was actually one of those games where those two things were a little bit reversed. I cannot believe for 2 years in a row the goddamn Gatorade was purple. I mean, that just blows my mind, and it's absolutely infuriating. Somebody should just
Well, I guess next year we should mark this down, right? Because they have to be superstitious now. So if the Chiefs are in the Super Bowl next year, purple's going to be like purple's going to be minus 600 or 700 or something wild, but you should still take it. I wouldn't bet a lot of money on it, but
the length of the national anthem. So first time, and I think this is three or 4 years that it reached over 90. And I think a lot of that has to do with Reba, baby. She wanted every second she could get. I think the more confident the person singing that national anthem, the higher the odds of that hitting the 90 seconds. Outside of that, Mills, that's pretty much my synopsis. Congrats on edging me out by one singular point.
I think the one that sums up the Super Bowl the best is the fact that there were more made field goals than passing touchdowns.
Yeah. You're not wrong, dude. You're not wrong.
Yeah. You gotta get swifty. You gotta get swifty in here. It's time to get swifty.
Well, just to refresh your memory, we sold out on the previous episodes in a shameless effort to capitalize on the hashtag Swelsay, the Swelsay mania. Mills, tell us how we did in part 2 with our Taylor Swift prop bets. Do we nail any of these? Who wears black? I can't believe she wore black. I'm so mad. But I think I deserved a point here, Mills, because she had a red over. She had a red over.
We were very specific on the garment. We will get to that. The first question was, will Travis Kelce propose to Taylor Swift? You said yes. I said no. He did not. The second one was, will the MVP mention Taylor Swift in his speech? That I had yes, you had no, and it was no. And then we had, will Taylor Swift wear an outfit made by Christian Juszczyk? At Jamie G, you said yes, I said no, and it was no. Number 4 was, will Swift's travel from Japan to Las Vegas be shown on CBS? You said no, I said yes, it was no. She got there too soon, Jamie G. And then the one we were just speaking of, what will the color of Taylor Swift shirt be at the Super Bowl? I took red, which was the super chalk. Jamie G switched it up with white, but no, it was black. The 4th favorite, going off at plus 1,600. That got there.
Crazy.
Number 6 was, will Swift and Kelce be seen kissing on the broadcast? We both had yes, and it was yes. Finally, there was, will Donna Kelce hug Taylor Swift on the CBS broadcast? And that was a big no, and we both had yes. So, Jamie G, I hate to break it to you, buddy, but you got 3 right. I got 3 right. That's a little bit of a push there.
The push. And, look, I'm from the mindset, Mills, of if you didn't win, you lost. It's tying is losing. A push to me is a loss. But you can feel a little bit good that you didn't, you basically got back your investment. So it's not
also,
that
you can
bad.
play the salt and pepper too if you need to.
Great song. Incredible karaoke song if everyone's feeling swifty with it. That's it, buddy. Part 3 of our prop bet spectacular was a bankroll contest. I went big on a handful of props while Mills, he spread his coins around and had a little fun with it. 2 different strategies, 2 different results. It's time we see which strategy was the right one. We each started out with 100 cricket coins, our currency here on Seize the Gap Fantasy Football. How many cricket coins did we end up with?
All right, Jamie G, we'll go over your wagers first. You went 2 for 4. You missed. You had 25 cricket coins on Kansas City making the first challenge. There were no challenges. And you had 25 coins on Kansas City being the first team to score. Neither of those got there. You hit 25 on Mahomes to win MVP. That was plus 125. So that brought back 56.25 coins. And you had 25 on the first play being over 3.5 yards at minus 110. So you brought back 47.73 coins on that bad boy. I had a few wins and a few losses. My misses were 5 coins on Isaiah Pacheco to have exactly 10 receiving yards. He had 33. 5 on Travis Kelce to score a touchdown in each half. 0 touchdowns. 10 on the longest drive being over 77.5 yards. There were 2 75-yard drives. So killing me there. I had 15 coins on Kansas City scoring first and winning. They did not score first. And I had 25 cricket coins on Brock Purdy over 0.5 interceptions. He did not throw an interception some way, somehow. As far as my wins, I had 5 on the coin toss being heads, so took home 10 coins there. I had 10 coins on the jersey number or the first TD score to be over 22.5. That was minus 115, so brought home 18.7 coins. Had 10 coins on Christian McCaffrey to have 150 or more rushing plus receiving yards. That was plus 160, so brought home 26 coins on that 10-coin wager. And finally, 15 cricket coins on either team to score unanswered 3 times, minus 160. That happened, brought back 24.38 coins. Jamie G, you edged it out here. You had 103.58 coins, so you turned a slight profit there. Congratulations. I lost a little bit of coin despite hitting some 79.08. So you definitely won that one. But Brock Purdy, man, I was so sure that was the one thing I was positive he was going to throw an interception. So if I would have hit that bad boy, I would have been in super business. That was the safe money there. That was my binky, and I had to sleep without it, and it was not a good night's sleep.
You got to learn to break that binky one of these days, Mills. And I'm not a math guy, but I can count to 3. And if I'm not mistaken, we've got ourselves a tie, don't we, Mills? You won part 1. We tied in part 2. And I won part 3. So what's up here, Mills? Are we drawing the black card, or do we have another solution to fix this tie?
In the event of a tie, a winner must be chosen. There can be only one. And so it comes to this. Flip a coin.
Well, I mean, we could draw the black card, but we know how that goes, and we'll save that for another day. And let's do a King Arthur thing, and not something with flour and the ingredients of a cake, but like from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. King Arthur fought the Black Knight.
All right, we'll call it a draw.
Come, Patsy.
Oh, I see. Running away, eh? You yellow bastard! Come back here and take what's coming to you! I'll bite your legs off!
Maybe we'll let it ride, whatever we had wagered on this into, or maybe our free agency predictions or our draft contest, because, dude, it's almost March.
You know what? I'm cool with that, but you need to know, when we do this again next year, I'll bite your bloody legs off.
You know, I always did assume that Dan Campbell stole that bit from Python. Not gonna lie.
All right, how about our fantasy football playoff contest? Any takeaways from the results?
Mostly that I was surprised at how many Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson teams wound up cashing. If you look over on FFPC, that was a contest where you could only take one player from each NFL team, and you definitely had to have Christian McCaffrey and Travis Kelce. You get double points in the Super Bowl, so that was big there. Most of the teams up top actually had Josh Allen at quarterback. Really, the key was fading Baltimore or just using Justin Tucker or the Baltimore defense. And as far as guys that didn't make it to the Super Bowl, you really needed Aaron Jones and ideally Puka Nacua. If you move over to RT Sports and their big contest, there you can have 2 players from each NFL team. Neither of the teams up top had the 2 quarterbacks in the Super Bowl. Of those 2 teams and the 4 possible quarterbacks, one had Brock Purdy out of the 4. That was it. The winner actually had Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen at quarterback. And if you looked at the San Francisco options, the best San Francisco stack wound up being Purdy and Christian McCaffrey. Kelsey and Isaiah Pacheco was a very good stack, but the one that actually worked best for Kansas City, because you had to start a kicker, was Travis Kelsey and Harrison Butker, ironically. So it did make a difference. A little bit surprising there that none of the top teams actually had Aaron Jones, but that happened more or less because you could take 2 players from each NFL team. No one really expected the Packers to go anywhere. So lo and behold, he got kind of overlooked. The NFFC had their big contest. That's a hold'em where you get more points for each week a player is in your roster. And as each week as the playoffs go on, you can have another player from each NFL team. So it starts out with 1 max per team, winds up with 4 in the Super Bowl. The winner in their final lineup had Christian McCaffrey, Debo, Purdy, Brandon Ayuk. And on the Kansas City side, they had Pacheco, the Kansas City kicker, in this case, Bucker, and Kelsey Mahomes. Somebody did manage to almost take it down with a huge Lion stack. They had Laporta, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Gibbs. They were all popular. Again, you had to have Aaron Jones there. In anywhere you needed a kicker, Harrison Butker was the guy. And JBG, any thoughts on the fact that your guy, Josh Allen, still wound up in a lot of the winning lineups, despite the fact that he did not play the 4 games?
I think it just goes to show you just how good Josh Allen is, playoff Josh. I think, look, man, when you get 3-4 touchdowns a game, I think he outplayed virtually every other quarterback that played throughout in the playoffs, for 2 games, whether it's rushing touchdowns, passing touchdowns, or the combination of both. And we saw a lot of games where quarterbacks, I was hammering the over 1.5 touchdowns on multiple games, and it just didn't get there. I think he outplayed a lot of his competition in terms of fantasy points, even in 2 games, despite other players, like Patrick Mahomes playing 4 games.
Yeah, and honestly, on the AFC side, there was just not a lot of high-powered quarterbacking, period. Mahomes was very workmanlike. He didn't help fantasy owners. Flacco laid an egg. You didn't get much from Stroud. Tua did nothing. At least on the NFC side, you had some guys do some stuff, even Baker Mayfield. Almost everybody, as far as quarterbacks on the NFC side of the bracket, had at least 1 good game. And I guess the takeaway here is you don't have to be perfect. Really, you could have made the argument that if you knew in advance and you played Jordan Love and Aaron Jones, that might have been more efficient than going with Josh Allen and open some different stuff up. But you didn't even need to go there in these contests with 100,000 entries or whatever. Nobody actually got to that kind of lineup. So as much as you do think you need to be a little bit crazy, you don't have to be in. As shocking as it is, kickers matter. In these contests, when they make you have a kicker and they make you have a defense, it's so easy to make that your last item in, your last position filled. I am guilty of that a lot of times. I actually did wind up with a little bit of Baltimore kicker and defense, but that was because you had to pick somebody, and I had them losing, so I didn't go there. But it was really more on accident than any kind of concerted strategy to just use the Baltimore defense and kicker. But crazy world, man. You got to get lucky if you're going to win one of these things.
You do. And, we talked about Jake Elliott being like well, let's just throw away the Eagles because we don't think they're going to win a game, and let's just plug in the kicker. But it's really, Harrison Buckner might have outperformed Patrick Mahomes. When you really think about it,
he had a lot of points. He really did. He made a
points,
significant difference in a low scoring playoffs. The weather wasn't the greatest, that kind of thing. He just kept making field goals. I mean, he just kept slow and steady winning the race, racking up points.
And a couple 50 burgers, man. I mean, those are 5 points a clip. So it's it adds up, man.
It's why we didn't even mention in the Super Bowl that the longest field goal record was broken by Josh Moody, who'd been terrible all year. And then he holds it for, I don't know what, 20 minutes, not even 12 minutes, something like that. That was kind of cool.
And then it gets broken by Buckner. Yeah.
That was just a little cool bit that we didn't mention. As far as the best ball contest, I won't go too in depth because a lot of it mattered on the particular flavor you were playing. I will say that given the way the ADP wound up, you really could get a full Chiefs stack. And because they played 4 games, even though they weren't necessarily the high-powered offense we were hoping for, that was the way to go, especially because it was possible to get Christian McCaffrey if you had the first pick and still wind up basically getting the entire Kansas City stack. So that was the way to go. And again, here, the kicker and defense for Kansas City were both real assets. When you were going for kind of the one-off teams, you wanted the NFC side, taking players from either Detroit or Green Bay was the best way to go. And obviously, Aaron Jones was really the one guy here who only played 2 games, but was almost a must-have. At the risk of maybe being a little bit too simplistic here, I just want to point out that maybe we gave a little bit too much credence to the regular season results, especially how teams were playing down the stretch. Maybe that's more about Dallas and Baltimore, but I think everybody felt that these teams were really locked in. The Bills too. Everybody was really feeling them. On the other side, you can argue that we ignored Green Bay. They were really hot going in. No one gave them a chance. And the Eagles looked absolutely terrible going in, and they played absolutely terribly. So, and Jamie G, any thoughts on, did we correctly apply the regular season results to our postseason contest, or do we get caught up in the moment a little bit too much?
I think we got caught up a little bit, but I don't think it's as bad as we kind of said. Neither of us had, Baltimore maybe winning 1 game, definitely not winning 2. Neither one of us had high hopes of Philadelphia advancing. Neither one of us, we were wrong with Green Bay for sure. I think that's where we really.
I had the
kind of was like,
Rams doing
damn.
what Green Bay did, basically, is what I wound up having on that side of the bracket.
Right.
So that screwed me a little bit. But it was an
Right.
easy. You could get Cooper Kupp, Matthew Stafford, and Puka, and maybe even Carwin. That was another stack that could have worked.
They almost did. They get by Detroit, and I think they
And they would have played a lot of high
almost did.
scoring games, I think, too. And they would have had a real shot
Yes.
against San Francisco. I really think they could have pushed San Francisco, no doubt. So
I think so too. Be the 3rd time they play each other. Those division games are just, when you're playing a team 3 times in the same season, it's tough to call. So I think we were closer than maybe it seems, but yeah, I mean, you can't get lost in the sauce, man. I mean, Green Bay was definitely the biggest surprise.
And how many people are going to take a victory lap? Oh, I called San Francisco. They should have lost both of their games. Their Super Bowl was probably they should have probably won the Super Bowl, but lost the first 2, to be perfectly honest.
Super Bowl was probably the best game they played. I know.
Yeah,
they got extremely
with
lucky.
the absence again, the McCaffrey, even the great players fumble, but that punt bouncing off dude's leg, that was, I mean, literally, like, I'm just picturing, Fear and Loathing, man. Look at what God did to us.
Jesus! Do you see what God just did to us, man?
God didn't do that. You did it. You're a fucking narcotics agent.
100%. Mills, I think that just about does it for the Super Bowl prop bet spectacular. And that's a wrap on the 2023 season. We hope that each and every one of you did well in your fantasy leagues. Is it too early to start talking about the 2024 fantasy season? Maybe, but that is never, and I mean never, stopped us before. Mills, what can we do to finish out this episode while dipping our toes, at least the big toe, into the 2024 fantasy season? Can you get me a toe?
Whenever he says toe, I don't know if he's setting me up for Lebowski joke or not. Anyway, if you want a toe, I get you a toe, polish, et cetera, et cetera. As far as 2024, believe it or not, there are already best ball drafts and tournaments underway. So let's finish up the episode by doing a mock draft for the first round of a 1QB best ball league. Basic settings, 12-team, PPR, 1 quarterback, 2 running back, 3 wide receiver, 1 tight end, 2 flex. Again, we're only doing round 1, just kind of dipping our toes in a little bit here, like you asked. And Jamie G, since I'm a nice guy, I'll give you the 1-on-1. I don't think it'll take.
Oh man. Well, I think you know where I'm going with it, buddy. Give me my guy, number 17, Josh Allen. I love you, Josh.
In a 1 quarterback league. All right. I mean, it's all right. It's you want to start the season off. All right, fine. I'm taking Christian McCaffrey then. That's a thank you.
You're very welcome. I will turn around and I'm gonna go ahead and take CeeDee Lamb.
All right. Thank you for making me not have to draft a Cowboy, although I do like the pick there. I'm going to go Tyreek Hill. I'm tempted to go with Justin Jefferson, but you do have the quarterback question there. He does have the contract, not impossible. Maybe he winds up on a holdout or something. So I will go with Tyreek Hill.
I'm gonna turn around and jump right on Breece Hall.
Ooh, Jamie G, and he's usually not the biggest Breece guy. All right, I like that.
No.
All right, I'll go Jamar Chase. I'll pass up Jefferson one more time. Again, if T. Higgins leaves, I could see Chase going nuclear. Hopefully Joe Burrow's healthy to start next season. I don't care if they don't want to play him at all. Go for it, whatever you got to do. But I will go Jamar Chase at 6, Jamie G 107.
I'm gonna go ahead and take Justin Jefferson. I don't care. I don't care who's throwing.
You're not going to let me have a
to him.
third crack at that one.
No. Yeah, you lost your chance there. I'm going.
I thought maybe you had something weird against him, and I was playing the odds a little bit there. I thought maybe I was going to get one. Give me Amon-Ra St. Brown, please. 108.
All right, dude. You know what? I'm gonna poke around and find out, bro. Give me Puka Nacua.
Oh, Puka Nacua. See, we're in the zone now. This is what happened. You start drafting, and then boom, all of a sudden it's just all over the place. Man, all right. Kyron Williams.
Whoa! Holy smokes.
I'm gonna go with the results, and I think even though the Rams have a cleaner cap now, they have some draft picks. I don't think they're gonna spend big money or use a high draft pick at running back. I don't love Kyron Williams long term for dynasty, but whoever the Rams running back has been wildly successful for fantasy for the past couple of years. Caught the ball okay, scored a lot of touchdowns, was second only to Christian McCaffrey on a point per game basis, and he was the only one within sniffing distance of Christian McCaffrey. So you prorate that over a whole year, maybe they improve on the offensive line a little bit. I like that at 10, taking him over the guy who I like the potential of, but didn't do as much last year.
I'm there with you. I'm going to take my guy Jahmyr Gibbs, man. You know I'm a big Gibbs guy. Up in Detroit, give me Jamar Gibbs.
Oh, so Jamie G passes him down to me. Says he passed out of once.
He's all yours, bro.
Will you do it again? I will close out with Bijan Robinson. Just because it's too early for me to take Kyle Pitts, so I do have to represent for the ATL. I will close out with Bijan, hoping for the real breakout season next year. It definitely could happen. Thankfully, hopefully Arthur Smith is he just sticks to rooting the Steelers. So that was it. Quick and dirty, nice and easy. Got our toes in. One round, 101. Jamie G did it. Took Josh Allen in a 1 QB league. Then we had Christian McCaffrey, CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill, Breece Hall, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Puka Nacua, Kyron Williams, Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson. Jamie G, if you had a time machine, you went back a year and you whispered in someone's ear, hey, next year in the first round of best ball drafts, 2 Rams are going to go and neither of them are Cooper Kupp. I mean, you would just get the taste slapped out of your mouth for that.
You really would.
You could have like the future newspaper, the picture of you, all the proof in the world, and be like, no, dude, you're telling me that 2 Rams in the first round and neither of them are Cooper Kupp. Seriously, get out of here.
It's nuts. It's lunacy. But you know what's not lunacy? 2024. And hello, because we're here. And you know what, Mills? Our toes are wet. And somebody called Bob Seger because we officially turned the page. Mills, what's up next for Seize the Gap? And I hope that Turn the Page is stuck in your head.
I'll take that because I've had some other random songs running through my head this day, including the theme to Gilligan's Island. The one with the boat. We will be continuing to cover Dynasty Fantasy Football on 9 Guys Dynasty. You find it wherever you're getting our pod or on our YouTube channel. We will be back soon to do a little bit of a free agent preview, dive more into these best ball leagues. Definitely going to do some of that between now and the NFL draft. Like to get in a few of those pre-draft best ball leagues. A lot of good stuff. So make sure you like, subscribe, all that good stuff so you don't miss any of it.
This has been Seize the Gap Fantasy Football. Thank you for listening and watching. We definitely appreciate it. Please check out our YouTube channel and our podcast feed for more of our 100% absolutely positively free content. Do you have any thoughts on best ball? Did you hit it big on some Super Bowl prop bets? You got to let us know. Drop a line in the comments, or baby, get up in these DMs and just slide on that social media. We'd love to hear about it. Want to hear about your wins. Want to hear about your close calls. Let us know. Mills, remind everybody where they can find us.
That just reminded me, remember when Metallica did a cover of Turn the Page? There are probably people who think that's a Metallica song and not even a Bob Seger song, but that's not for here or there. And here and there has been Seize the Gap Fantasy Football. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, on social media at Seize the Gap FF, also on the web at seizethegapff.com. Thanks again for checking out our show and not forgetting the flaps. It's important to remember them. They help land planes and they help other people find our show. Follow, like, and please subscribe. It's all we ask. If you had fun, please hit the thumb. I'm Magnum Mills. He's Jamie G. And please remember, you need to seize the gap and stop being so inefficient.
Seriously, I don't care if you're old. You need to seize the gap.
You fat cow.
Back and you'll hear a tale of a fateful trip that started from this tropic port aboard this tiny ship. The mate was a mighty sailing man, skipper brave and sure. 5 passengers set sail that day for a 3-hour tour.